right? Because we all saw Steven's, knee-jerk reaction to the post about New World and their shop and all that. He went off on his tangent, but in his apology, he said something which a lot of people looked at where it's like, that's just an apology. He's like, I really hope New World succeeds. Steven is a very smart man. He truly does, because New World is that like first little bit of a sand park MMO, right? Where there are some rails, but it is a little bit more sandbox. It is player driven.
Nice.
Yeah. Literally New World and Ashes, they're 2 years apart. If people enjoy New World and it's a huge success and it brings new people into the genre enjoying it, those people feed right into Ashes. Like
100%.
That's literally just grabbing more market share for his product.
Like we know, so I know Bard's in the restaurant industry. I've been in the restaurant industry for years. Like we know the restaurant, and people. This is the one comment that I would always hate when you're at a restaurant and people say, "Oh, a new restaurant opened up across the street and they look pretty successful. Are you worried about competition?" It's not competition. The more restaurants we have in this one little area, the more people come here to come do it. So right now, the MMO genre isn't fighting against other MMOs. It's fighting against battle royales, first-person shooters, like little social games, indie developers, RPGs, survival, like all of these other games. Like when you go to the Twitch page and you see that League of Legends and CSGO are always above World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy 14, that's what we're fighting against. We're fighting to get people, because we all grew up on MMOs. We all love MMOs, right? The younger generation isn't that big of a fan because they've never had a good, well-released, long-term MMO. And so they've fallen off because I have ADD and I can do TikTok in 10 seconds and I can play Fortnite and it's a 20-minute game and then I move on. And I think that as they mature, and the already more mature group, we're looking for more good MMOs. So the more better MMOs that are in the category, the better off it will be overall.
Yeah. And to go back to that, like, so a lot of I helped open a distillery, and we had another distillery open like 5 minutes away from us, same town. And a lot of people were asking like, oh, are you guys worried? And it's like, well, there's two things to this. First of all, as Fane said, it just brings in more people interested in breweries and distilleries. The other thing is there's something to be said for being the best of the competition. And we're going to strive to be the best. If people see this and they come for both these, but they're like, oh, but you want to go there because they're the best. That's something to be said. And that, I think, is what Steven is trying to do with Ashes. He's very much trying to be like, okay, we could cut corners, or we could spend our time, make a great game, and be the best in this genre.
Well, I think New World was like, I mean, it was, joked about, a New World, the gateway MMO. First one's always free. You're right, Fane.
It's true. It's true.
I got some beta keys for you, kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got some beta keys in the van if you want.
Yeah,
some.
Guys, I got a van full of puppies and beta keys. Come on over.
Yeah, that's how you kidnap me, by the way. Tell me there's puppies and beta keys in your
I mean, dude, me too.
But they wanted to beat Ashes. I truly believe that when they saw the momentum that Ashes was gaining so early on, I think Amazon was like, yo, let's get in on this. We already I think maybe they already had something going, and this put the fire under their ass to go, let's get it done first. And they have the money to do that. They were able to do that. Not that Ashes isn't well funded, because it is, but whereas Ashes might need to account for every nickel, New World only needs to account for every dollar. And so
I still want to know how much was spent on New World.
that would be interesting to know. For sure. So they were just trying to get boots on the ground. They were just trying to get there, get the base layer establishment in. And I really hope that, to echo what you're saying, Bard, that Ashes is going to come in and it's going to be the full infrastructure. It's going to be the cavalry coming in. It's going to be so. You go and hit up that taco shack that's been there for that was there 5 years before anything else was, because that's an awesome place to go. And it's fun to go back and relive and experience that and have good food. Like, so you go back and you have it every now and then. But this place over here is just fucking amazing. But all of those things existing and actually being there, to what you said, Fane, having a plethora of restaurants in one place just pulls people. It doesn't necessarily pull people to your restaurant and only your restaurant. It pulls people to the area, and then they go. I mean, how many times have you been in the middle of a mall food court and like, what do I want to eat? And you're looking at everything.
And like, it's like none of that. You're like, none of that. It's all awful.
None of it, but there's a sports bar over here, right? Like,
yeah. Well, but even that, it's like, okay, the restaurant's near the malls. Like, oh, do we want to go to the Red Robin, or do we want to go to the BJ's Brew House, or do we want to go to, like, and so all of those, like,
definitely so BJ's.
And so you make all of those different things in one place. And I really see that that's what's happening with the MMORPG right now. And we're just at the initial phase of it. And so all of us are over here just like, oh my God, just open already. Like,
well, and Bard made a great point too, because you do want to be the best, even though there's competition around. The competition drives you. If you're not awful, the competition drives you to improve. What are they doing that's better than you, and how can you step up your game? And WoW has been the lone shitty Italian restaurant in the small town forever. They haven't seen the need to improve. We're just going to change up our menu where we switch whatever sauce goes on whatever shaped noodle every 2 years. And we're going to charge you $20 for it. And they've just been doing the same expansion kind of grind. Now that there's other things in the market, it's time for them to step up. And you look at a game like New World that I think everyone on this panel can agree it has its flaws in its current iteration. It's way better than it was a year ago. But there are certain parts of the game that each of us have found feel amazing in their own right. Like, I love the combat. I love the crafting. Bard's running some expeditions and having a ton of fun with that. Like, we're all feeling, and we like that system. And that new thing, if you can do it well, because new will always attract, but if you can do new well, you win. Because if it's good after that day one launch where everyone's in and we're so excited, once you get past that day one launch where you're like, well, not going to the post office or the grocery store this week, let's keep going. That's when you start to have a real success on your hands.